Hello, I'm Ben. Welcome to Andertons TV. It's Acoustic Paradiso, and today I'm looking at Resonators. These are all Recording King Resonators. A few months ago we did the Recording King Parlour size guitars with the gold foil pickups, which were a lot of fun. And these are the Resonators. But before I start talking about the different models here, a little bit of a kind of brief overview of the type of resonators we've got. We've got two different types here. If you're not kind of that familiar with resonator guitars, the way they work is, well, the way these ones work, is that inside all of these guitars, underneath this circle, there is some kind of a spun disc that looks a bit like a speaker. But there's two different ways that those things work. On this one, and this one, we've got what's called a biscuit bridge, which is a round, kind of circular piece of wood which sits on top of a spun cone underneath these circles, which is kind of inverted. And the strings rest on top of the bridge, which is on top of that round biscuit. That vibrates, and that's what makes the sound, and that's what makes them so loud. Because these designs are all based on kind of pre-war designs. Recording King used to be a brand in the 1930s that were with Montgomery Ward, who are a mail order kind of catalogue company in the States. And so these are very true to those pre-war designs. But anyway, I've digressed from talking about the two different types of bridges. So these are the biscuit bridges, the round ones. These two either side of me have got what's called a spider bridge, which I will talk about in a bit more detail when we get to them. But we'll start with this one, which is on my lap. This is called the Swamp Dog. It's an O-size guitar. I chose it because it's got this beautiful faded green finish, which matches my slide. That's my first one. It's got a spun, I believe, aluminium cone underneath there. And it is one of the new kind of ranges of colours they've got, which is just great. It's a metal body. This is a nickel-plated brass body, but it's got this distressed green kind of faded finish. So it looks like it's been sat out in a swamp for years, I think is the theory behind it. Anyway, but it's, yeah, very much in the kind of tradition of the national style guitars. Weighs a ton, sounds great. It's incredibly loud. So I'm in open E at the moment, because that's what I like to play slide in. You heard me play this one in the intro. So as a comparison, we'll stick with the metal body guitars, and I will move to this one, which is, if anything, even heavier than the Swamp Dog, even though it's a smaller body. This works on the same principle. This is a biscuit bridge with a spun aluminium cone. This is the black nickel, which is subtle, but it is darker than your standard nickel plate. It looks cool. You can't keep fingerprints off it at all. It's got a mahogany neck, and it is the Parlour size, so it's really small, but again, it's devastatingly loud for a guitar of its size. So I'm going to play it now for you. This is tremendous fun, this one. Like I said, it's got the black nickel finish on here, the smaller Parlour size body, so it kind of tonally it sits in a different place to the Swamp Dog. Slightly less low end, but the mid-range is punchy as anything. It's got a really nice neck actually on this one. It's my favourite of the necks of these. It's kind of quite a deep V by the time you get up to about the 5th fret, but rounded down the bottom. And really nice. This one's got open gear tuners and that kind of classic look that you want from a metal body resonator. Very cool actually, this one. The last of the biscuit bridge ones is this new one, which is the Resonator kind of cousin, I suppose, to the Dirty 30s with gold foils that we were looking at a couple of months back. much lighter because it's got a wooden body. Still got the Biscuit bridge. It's got the cone underneath there. F-holes. I believe this is mahogany woods on here on the back and sides and top and neck. So yeah, let's see how it compares to the metal ones. They're not as loud because they haven't got the big brass bodies, but it's got a cool tone all of its own. So here we go. So yeah, it's a very different sound to the metal bodies, but still, it's got that kind of real nasal honk that you look for in a resonator, basically. Well, I certainly look for in a resonator. This is the cheapest of the three of these Biscuit bridge ones. This is $299, which is, you know, it's a lot of guitar for $299, whereas the metal bodies are both $599. Again, that's a good price for a brass body guitar. Out of the three, I would say my favourite is this one, which is a surprise because I was expecting to like the Swamp Dog most. But that's a very cool one there, out of these three Biscuit bridges. So yeah, there we go, the Dirty 30s. Very cool, kind of aged finish, but not relict, if you know what I mean. It's got the Recording King logo, these little button tuners, and it's a cool guitar. Moving on, if you're looking for a resonator and you're more in the market for something kind of a bit more bluegrassy and country, you're probably going to look for something like this, which is more related to the dobro construction. What we have under here is a spider bridge. So, and the main difference is there's a spider web kind of cage on top of the speaker, which is actually facing out. I say speaker, the speaker cone-shaped resonator device. And with a spider bridge design, what happens is the vibrations, as well as hitting the middle of the kind of cone, also get kind of transmitted out to the edge. So you get, generally speaking, a bit more top end and a bit more sustain, which is what you're looking for in that kind of classic bluegrassy type sound. They do square neck versions of this and the Professional as well, if that's what you're looking for and you want to play it on your lap. These are the round neck versions. They're a lot of fun. I'm going to give you an example of how they sound. So you get, already you can hear there's a lot more sustain than there is in these, on the single Biscuit bridge ones. So here we go. So that's lovely. That's really nice. It's got that kind of, that real dobro sound. I really want to try the square neck versions of these actually, because I think they're going to be a lot of fun playing them on my lap. It's a beautiful looking guitar. Now this one, I expect you're doing what I did when I first saw these two guitars together and started wondering what the actual difference was, because they are incredibly similar to look at. But this is the Maxwell. This one retails at $349. This is the professional version, which retails at $599. So I'm going to swap over and point out some of the differences. The first difference is the professional is a bit heavier, which speaks to the fact that there's not one major difference between the two. There are lots of kind of little upgrades, which is kind of explains the difference. So on I think the main differences here are the cone construction. This one is a little bit more high-end. This has got Grover open back tuners. It's the construction. Everything is just raised a little bit more. And I have to say, in terms of the sound, it is noticeable. This one sounds good, but this one sounds great. This is a Paduke fretboard on this model, and on the professional, that's an ebony board. So it's everything like that. It's just raised a little bit so that you can have just a real professional grade instrument, I suppose. So here's how this one sounds. This is a great sounding guitar. Like, I love this. The sustain on these, on both of these, I have to say, but this one particularly, is really good for guitars of this construction. I've played, to be honest, I have to, disclaimer, I've played more of the kind of Biscuit bridge design than the Spider bridge in the past. But I'm really impressed with the sustain on these, and also for the top end. It's just beautiful. I love it. Super loud as well. I always forget, whenever you sit down to play, whenever I sit down to play a Resonator, I always think they sound really quiet before I remember that actually they're just firing all the sound out the front. So if you're listening, they're super loud. And a lot of fun. I'm really impressed by the Recording King guitars that I've played, I have to say. And I've had a lot of fun playing these ones. I'm going to look forward to playing the rest of the range and having a go on the square necks when we get some of those in. And the tricones, there's some tricones coming in too, I believe, which will be a lot of fun. So, to recap, we've got the Dirty 30s, that's the new one, the new little black nickel Parlour, the Swamp Dog, and then we've got the Maxwell and the Professional with the Spider Bridge. And yeah, they're a lot of fun. Don't forget to click the buttons to like and subscribe, and leave some comments below. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.